You're listening to Lexington Community Radio, WLXU 93.9, and this is Bike Talk.
Hi, I'm your host, Wanda Bertram. Today we're joined by Andy Lanier and Denile Hill with Scheller's Fitness and Cycling. Hey guys, it's great to have you on the show.
Hey, it's good to be here.
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks. Yep.
I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for inviting me into the shop. This is a really cool place. So before we get into lots of details, I would love to know just kind of an overview of what you do here. What is this shop all about?
Well, as the name implies, Scheller's Fitness and Cycling, we sell a full range of residential and commercial fitness equipment as well as bikes, which is kind of Denile and I's passion and specialty is the bicycles. So pretty much any kind of bike you could want, we can get it or have it here. So that's pretty much what we do in a nutshell.
And fitness as well.
Oh, yeah, fitness, absolutely. Residential or commercial. We've got pretty much anything you need.
And we'll hear a little bit more about that too, because it looks like this is a very important part of the shop. Tell me a little bit about the shop. If I walk in, what are your hours? Where are you located? How do I get here?
We're at the corner of Harrodsburg and Lane Allen at 1987 Harrodsburg Road. We're here Monday through Friday, 10 to 7. Yes, 7 p.m., 10 to 7. And Saturday, 10 to 6. Closed on Sundays.
So people can come in after work and you're still going to be here to help them with whatever they need.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the busier parts of our day is the after work crowd.
And before we get into the shop and what you do here, let's get to know Andy and Denile a little bit better. Denile, tell me a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your personal background and how cycling and fitness fits into that.
I came to Kentucky from Michigan by way of North Carolina and then Tennessee. I was in school in Tennessee and my husband took a job here, so we moved to Kentucky. I had been a mountain biker and got into road riding when I moved to North Carolina, but not part of the industry, just a enthusiast. And then kind of fell backwards into it. When I moved here, I took a job in the industry and fell in love with the bike industry, and the culture is amazing. And it just so happened that at the time, I had worked in fitness most of my life up until then, and took this part-time job, and I had some health issues and was on kidney dialysis, and so I couldn't work in the health industry, in the fitness industry. And so bike culture is really for everybody. Even if you're sick, even if you're maybe not the most fit rider out there, you can find a place. And I felt right at home. So I stayed. I never left. And here I am. And I had my second kidney transplant and I'm strong again. For me, I just want to get people on bikes and get them outside.
Wow, what an incredible story and gift to share.
Thank you. Yeah.
And how long have you been here at Scheller's?
Let's see. I came to work with Andy in 2010, so 8 years.
All right, Andy, it's your turn.
I started cycling with my father. He was a cyclist back when I was a kid. Actually, in the mid 70s, he was the North Carolina state rep for the League of American Wheelmen, which is now the League of American Bicyclists. So I grew up around it in bike clubs and around that culture and kind of immersed in it. Got into mountain biking once again in the I guess the late 80s when there really weren't any mountain bikes to be had. And we were kind of making our own things. Kind of grew up around that and went through that. When I got my driver's license, kind of got away a bit and then got back into mountain biking and then went to school and got out of college and got a part-time job at Scheller's. That was in 1996. About a year and a half later, I was managing one of the stores and stayed there for 18 years. And we eventually, unfortunately, had to close that shop down on Woodland Avenue. So we consolidated our staff here at Harrodsburg Road store and been here ever since. So yeah, it's one of those industries, like Denile says, there's a lot of passion, a lot of draw to it. Once you get hooked into it, it's hard to get away from. It's part of your life.
It is. It's a big part of your life. And I actually remember buying a bike from Scheller's on Woodland Avenue way back when, and you may have sold it to me. Let's talk a little bit about the history of Scheller's. It seems like it has a very long, very proud history.
Yeah, absolutely. The Scheller's is owned by the Scheller brothers, Greg, Tim, and Marty. Started in 78, 79. It's been around for a while. Started as a single shop in Louisville and has slowly grown over the years to the 6 locations that we have now in Kentucky and Indiana. So it's as big as we are, there's a kind of a family draw to it, kind of a core. I've been here a long time. Danile's been here a long time. Chad, the other manager here at this location, has been with the company for, 18 years. So the 20 years. Yeah,
you're 22 now, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm almost 22 years now. So time flies. But there's kind of that family atmosphere and relationship that we have with the owners. You can treat them like family, good or bad. There's two sides of that coin, but it's a special kind of feeling, and it tends to draw people in and keep them here. We're one big family.
Obviously, you are. I can see that. And Scheller's is a different store in several respects from anything else you see here in Lexington. One is that it's more diverse in terms of how it views fitness. It's not just cycling.
No, absolutely. We're one of the largest fitness providers in the state. You go to any major university, any organization, all the gyms around town, you'll see our stickers all over the state and in the surrounding states as well. So we take that part very seriously. Same dedication, same passion there as we have on the cycling side. So we good quality equipment, and we stand behind our service. We've always kind of put our service first, and that's the foot we stand on mostly. So equipment, vendors, suppliers may come and go, but we're going to be here, and we take a lot of pride in that. So.
It's very unique, I think, because I don't see this anywhere else in Lexington, is the diversity, in the store in terms of how you view fitness and cycling. How did that all come together?
Well, it's my understanding, and I hope I'm telling this right, is that when Greg Scheller started the company, a little bit into it, he realized that bicycles can be a very seasonal kind of business. And so he looked into fitness and thought, it would be our off season. And he did it right. He went big. He did commercial and he did residential. He provided delivery, he provided service, something that other people weren't providing. So it's specialty retail. It's not like going to a box store. And he understood that even back, in the late 70s and early 80s. And that's really what has carried us forward, even as a bike store.
Yeah, Greg himself grew up working in a bike shop, and he learned that core of service and what that means to the customer and how valuable that is. And like Denile says, when he opened the bike shop, he realized that maybe this isn't everything I need to be doing. And he saw a void in the fitness service and jumped in both feet and did it the way Schellers do things. Been moving forward ever since then.
So it's been more than just we need something to sell in the off season for cycling. It was really a part of the company's culture.
Absolutely.
Part of our mission, if you read our mission statement, is to help create a healthier community. And, yes, we're a retail business, but we get to come to work every day and help people live a healthier life. And that was very much a part of that decision. More than just the financial, it was also based in community.
And I think that's also very obvious in the outreach that Scheller's does to the community as well.
Yeah, we try to be real involved with community. And that's probably Danile's department more so than mine. But we're out doing the rides, the Horsey 100 and the local events, all the charity rides we try to get involved with. It's a lot of fun to get out and get with the riders and see that. I get a lot of energy from it. It's one of my favorite times of the year. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun as well. It's very rewarding.
Yeah, it is. We know that from an industry perspective, if we're not in touch with people that we're selling bikes to and selling fitness equipment to, that we may not necessarily understand them. But more than that, we're riders. We want to be with those people. We want to go interact with them and create those memories, create those stories, because we've got a lot of knowledge and we can share that and we can educate people. So we do clinics. And one of my favorite clinics is this basic bicycle inspection. And I don't think people really understand that when you come take that clinic, it's not just about your bike. You're learning how to look at your kids' bikes and make sure they're safe, or your neighbor's bike and make sure it's safe. So it's really just this full extension of what we can do to help serve our community, to really just be part of that. And that's why that outreach is. And then, of course, I always want to continue outreach to women. That's really important because they're a little bit underserved in the bike community, or have been in the past. And we've got a large ridership. So we really want to make sure that those women have good introductory experiences, have products for them, but also have a place to ride and people to ride with and feel comfortable.
I, for one, appreciate that. All right. We're going to take a short break, so stay tuned in. We're going to talk more about the bike culture and how Scheller's helps build that here in Central Kentucky. Welcome back to Bike Talk on Lexington Community Radio. I'm your host, Wanda Bertram. Today we're joined with Andy Lanier and Denile Hill. They're with Scheller's Fitness and Cycling, a really cool shop here on Harrodsburg Road at Lane Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Lane Allen in Harrodsburg. I know where I am for a change. And we've learned a little bit about the shop and some about Andy and Denile, their background and why they're here. And we're going to learn a little bit more about the shop itself. What happens when someone walks in? What's the feel of the place? Who are they going to meet?
Well, they'll hopefully be greeted very soon, either by Denile, myself, Natasha, that works with us as well. Chris Blau, they come in through the service area. Chris is a mechanic. I think he's got 19 years of experience in the industry.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're a bunch of old folks here. So our goal is to make people feel at home.
You all don't look that old. I'm sorry.
Cycling does that for you. It's keeps you young at heart, if nothing else. But our goal is to make people feel welcome. A lot of bike shops you walk in, not necessarily in the local community, but there's a kind of an elitist feel, and people feel put off by that a little bit intimidated. So we try to make sure that nobody feels intimidated when they walk in here. Just welcome. We have bikes for everybody. So we try to make people feel like they can come in and relaxed, and they can talk to Denile, Natasha, or myself. They can ask questions and not feel like they're bothering anybody, or just want to come research bikes and have a good time.
And people can hang out and ask all the questions that they want, and there's no wrong question.
Absolutely. The only wrong question is the one you don't ask. So we'll answer any questions you have.
Let's talk about the bike side first. What do you have in the way of bikes? Are there particular lines? Are there particular types of bikes?
Primarily, we sell Trek bicycles and Electra. And now Trek is a full range company. They make everything from the first bike that your kid would ride all the way up to the bikes that have won the Tour de France multiple times. Mountain bikes, road bikes, hybrids, fitness bikes, gravel bikes, you name it, they've got it. And if they don't have one, they're making it, and then should be ready next week, hopefully. But so they've got a full range of some of the best technology in the market. Trek's a company that leads in the area of technology. They've got more engineers in Wisconsin, the last time I heard, and this is a quote, than the rest of the industry combined in the United States, which is a pretty bold statement when you think about it. They make more carbon bikes in Wisconsin than anybody else in the United States. So they're much like Scheller's. They're a family-owned company. They stand behind their product. They're very active in advocacy. John Burke, the CEO of Trek, spends about half his time in Washington. People for Bikes, Bikes Belong, all those programs that Trek helped found. So it's a good company to be involved with. I can feel proud about that, the work that they do on a daily basis to make safe places for us all to ride. The ABC Light program they did, the safety program they did last year, was pretty phenomenal. So little things like that just make us feel like we're partnering with the right company when it comes to giving back to the community.
Yeah, so it sounds like you have a lot in common with your suppliers in terms of a really strong bent on advocacy.
We do. We also, on top of carrying Trek, which is that's our brand, our main brand we carry. And we don't necessarily, we're a smaller store of all of our 6 stores. We're probably one of the smaller in terms of square footage, but you can visit our stores and get on a Catrike or a TerraTrike, or come in and get on which are like recumbent trikes, or you can come in and I have a Sun Trike on my floor, which is a traditional 3-wheeled trike. I've got customers that we order specialty trikes for, hand cycles. If you want to ride it, we can get it for you and we'll find it. If we don't have it from our primary supplier, we are certainly happy to help you. So we've got it all.
And if someone walks in the door, you talked about it can be really intimidating if you're not in cycling yet. So if someone walks in the door and they really don't know what they want, they don't know what to do, you all can help them, I would think.
Yeah, that's the fun part. It's just trying to find out what they want to do, what their expectations and their goals are. A lot of people aren't aware of the variety of bikes and equipment that are available these days. So yeah, just trying to get in their mind and ask questions, let them do the talking, and just kind of listen and see where they want to go with it. There's a variety of options, and we, like Denile said earlier, we have a lot of knowledge that we can help people with. So it's a lot of fun, really engaging with the customers.
So you teach them as they come in, trying to figure out what they want. You're willing to teach them and work with them to come up with the right decision.
Yeah, we try. There's just certain questions. You have to talk to people. You have to listen to people, mostly. Ask them. Can't tell you how many people come in here, and we all hear this, that say, I'm not a cyclist. I don't want to race. And I say, good, because 90% of people don't. So that's easy. And of course, that other 10%, we're happy to help. But I think when people come in, they usually announce, I don't know anything about this. And so that's our signal to really get to go to work, use our knowledge and really help and hopefully have a good time. I always tell people buying a bike should be fun. If you're not having a good time doing it, something's gone wrong. So let's have some fun here.
And it sounds like you all have a lot of fun helping people figure that out.
We try to come into work on a daily basis. It's a lot more fun if you're having fun, right? So, we try to make it fun for everybody involved.
In addition to bikes, I'm looking around and you have a lot of other really fun looking stuff here. What else can people get into in here?
We have all the parts and accessories you would need to go out and do any kind of riding you really want. Everybody needs a helmet. As far as we're concerned, everybody needs lights, front and rear, for safety. We have shared a lot of that research that we were lucky enough to get through Trek, and really want people to know that. But we have lights. If you want shoes and pedals, we've got a wide variety of those. Service parts. If you need service parts, we've got those. Excellent mechanics that will also put those parts to good use. But then we've also seen a lot of specialty stuff lately. Bike packing accessories, gravel, things like that are becoming a much larger need. We have students are always looking for good locks and ways to keep their bikes safe. So we've got everything. Electra is one of our favorite lines, and they have the coolest accessories to really dress your bike up. So we've got it all.
Some really cool stuff. And there's a service area back here too.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a full range service department, work on a lot of bikes all day. That's one of the big parts of our business. One of our focuses is service, and we work on anything. So, there's no need to feel intimidated. It doesn't matter where you bought the bike, what bike shop, what department store, we'll work on it. If it can be fixed, we'll fix it. We don't mind trying to go the extra mile and find parts that might be obscure, maybe not as available as some of the other stuff we deal with on a daily basis. Sometimes that's the fun part of it, the challenging part of it, getting things up and running that may be older, may have some nostalgia. We'll work on anything brand new, old, doesn't really matter. We love the technology. I personally, I'm not a big technology person in general, but when it comes to bike technology, I find it really fascinating. That's part of the fun part of the job, working with the electronic drivetrains, currently the hydraulic disc brakes on the road bikes, things like that. A lot of fun. So it keeps us busy trying to keep on top of all that stuff. But it's one of the rewarding parts of the job is to stay in touch with that.
It brings out the bike geek in you, I guess.
Oh, it does. It just really, even though I'm technically a bike manager, I really like to sink my hands into some of that stuff sometimes. The Schellers are gracious enough to allow me to do that and still get the rest of my work done, but I really like to get my hands dirty. It's a lot of fun.
You also do bike fittings, from what I understand.
Well, we do. Andy and I actually are the fitters here in our store. We're probably a little more old school. We've both been trained. I was trained through a different company. You went through Trek, I believe, right, Andy?
I was trained by Michael Sylvester, the guy who invented Serrata's Fit Kit.
No kidding.
Yeah, decades ago. So that is old school. So I've been around that long. We also have one of Trek's advanced fit systems up in one of our Louisville stores, and we're glad to send customers up there to do if they want to get that precise, that expert fit. We can arrange that for them.
Yeah, and for people who haven't ridden or maybe new to cycling, what does it mean to have your bike fitted?
So having your bike sized is one thing. That's just knowing what size bike you're going to get on. Having your bike fitted is really a series of measurements that we take that really put you in what we would kind of call the sweet spot on your bike, depending on what type of riding you're doing. So when we get you in here, and again, we're doing it a little more of a classic technique where we put a bike on a trainer. We have some really cool, it's a goniometer, I always call it, I probably pronounce it wrong, that we use to do some measurements, measure angles. So we put you on your bike on a trainer, and you're in your shoes and your shorts usually, and we just do an assessment, take a series of measurements. But really what is the most effective, and it comes with a lot of experience, is really being able to talk to people, get their feedback on it, and see visually what's going on. And that's really what people can expect when they come in here.
It's biomechanical optimization. You want the person and the bike to become kind of one and really squeeze the maximum out of both parties to get to go down the road faster. Recognizing different body types, different body issues, the difference in a tri-fit from a typical road fit, things like that. And you just really have to see the person on the bike. But yeah, just dialing the machine in, and the man and the machine, or woman in the machine, as the case may be, just to make it all work better. That's a lot of fun as well.
For me, although I love the bike technology and I'm not a very good mechanic, Andy helps me along very frequently, but I love that seeing people that biomechanical, that for me is where it's at. I love to dial that in. I think that's really great.
Yeah, I can tell your eyes are both rolling back in your heads while you've been talking about this. It's a passion. All right, we're going to take another short break and we'll be right back with Schellers. Welcome back to Bike Talk on Lexington Community Radio. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Wanda Bertram, and today we're joined by Andy Lanier and Denile Hill. They're with Scheller's Fitness and Cycling, and we've been talking about the bike shop itself and a few little items we wanted to make sure we hit on too, because I understand you rent bikes.
We do. We have both hybrid and road bikes for rent. Got a small fleet upstairs that we keep available. The easiest way is to go through rentabikenow.com to actually book something. That keeps our inventory current and live, and you can rent something, I think, a year in advance. I think we're already booked up for the Horsey 100. All of our bikes are taken.
No kidding.
Oh, absolutely. There's a group of people that come in every year, and they'll book those, I think, 3 months ago. Pretty neat. It's good to let people come in. It's a beautiful place to ride, road ride, bluegrass area. You got the horse farms, the bourbon trail. So there's a lot of opportunities for people to come in. They don't always want to carry their bike with them. So we like to provide them the opportunity to come to town and take a nice ride.
So people can rent up to a year in advance, but can they just come in and rent something as well?
Absolutely. If we have fleet available, they're more than welcome to do a walk-in. It takes a little more time to do the paperwork, but we don't mind that.
You have a good diversity. You have hybrids, you have road bikes, all in good condition.
Absolutely. Yeah, we try to keep our fleet maintained at all times and ready to go.
That brings up an interesting topic, too, in terms of what's out there. Because a lot of what you offer are things that are new on the market when we think of things like e-bike.
Yeah, e-bikes, electric bikes, they're becoming more and more popular here in the Midwest. On the coastal areas, they're already big. In Europe, for every car sold, there are 3 e-bikes sold. So it's coming. It's not something that's, well, actually it's here. It's just the bikes are getting better. The battery technology is getting better. Price points are coming down, which is going to be a big hurdle that's been preventing a lot of activity, at least here in the United States. The more infrastructure, obviously, that the riders get to work with, and the better technology and better price points, e-bikes hopefully will start to take place more and more cars down the road.
For those of us who don't know, bike novices, what is an e-bike? Describe an e-bike.
It's a battery assist, a pedal assist bike, at least the ones that we sell. There are different options, but the pedal assist allows you to set it 1 to 4 settings, and it will assist your pedaling effort. So you can soft pedal up hills going 20 miles an hour. So somebody who's looking to get to work but can't really afford to break a sweat, that's a nice option. Opposed to a car, they can take a nice easy ride in and maybe get a workout on the way home. Just gives good versatile transportation option that can also be used for recreational.
It doesn't necessarily mean it's electric powered all the time then. You can choose when you want to use that and not to use that. So for someone who wants to go out and train and do a ride, that may help them.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of our biggest customers have been people who want to ride with a group of people, be it a husband or a wife, and maybe they don't have the power to stay with them on a longer ride. So it helps them do that. And they don't need a motorcycle or electric or a moped or anything. They just need a little more help to get up some of those hills or to cover those longer distances. And that's what an e-bike can do. It allows you to get out and enjoy it more. Generally, we see the people that use these things, they do get stronger as riders and come back and get a different bike from us down the road. Something a little nicer.
And like Andy was saying, it's, you'll see people that are commuting on these. Maybe there's not a shower at work and they want to commute and they can't afford to break a sweat. I know racers, a lot of folks in Wisconsin that race and they use these during the week for their commute because they can't afford to have their legs get tired during the week. They're great for the rider that wants to ride with the spouse or whomever that maybe they don't have the training to keep up with. But also, you can get people who aren't fit at all on bikes and get them going and give them a little assistance. Or one of my favorite is if you take a bicycle vacation, for instance, Trek Travel, they use their e-bikes so you can go ride Tourmalet. and they'll carry the extra batteries if you want and take you along. And it's kind of a fun option. So I think there's this thing that we go like, oh, cheater bikes. And I have to say that got to move past that because it's not, these e-bikes are about it all. They're about getting people on bikes. And Andy can attest to this. I think anybody that's been on one can attest. You never see anybody get off one without a smile.
Yeah, they're grin machines, definitely. Love them or hate them. If you ride one, they're just kind of fun.
I love it. Grin machines. That's great. So what are some other things that are trending right now?
Well, I mentioned disc brakes on road bikes a little earlier. We see more and more hydraulic disc brakes on road bikes. That's a big thing now, and it's the UCI is finally allowing them in racing, and it's also here. It's not the thing that's coming anymore. Maybe not quite half, but real close to half of the road bikes we've sold in this season have had disc brakes, and people love them. The braking is phenomenal. The control, the modulation, the power. It makes what was maybe a little bit too adventurous downhill, just now roll down the hill. So it's especially for people with carbon wheels, the lightweight wheels, the notoriously bad braking, especially when wet. Disc solves that. It's no longer an issue. So that's a big thing that's come down the road here recently.
So they're very different from traditional brakes. They're safer. They're easier to use. They're easier on your hands.
Yeah, exactly. A lot stronger, less lever effort required to get the same braking power, better modulation. There's just on and on as far as the pros for them.
And are they becoming more standardized?
They've got some industry standards, mounting standards, axle standards they've kind of boiled it down to the best options. So you see most of the companies have it kind of dialed into one or two options right now.
And so you're finding them on most of your major brands now, most of your major lines.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Pretty much all the major players have disc brake road bikes. The mountain bikes have obviously used them for years, but now the brakes are just better. Yeah, that's why cars and motorcycles, that's why they have disc brakes. They work better than any other kind.
Another thing that we've talked about trending, especially here in Central Kentucky, is mountain biking.
Yeah, yay! Yeah, I'm the treasurer for the Kentucky Mountain Bike Bluegrass Association, so I'm always pushing it. Our trail development has grown, and as those opportunities to ride have grown, ridership has grown. And then mountain bike technology is just it's constant. It is fun. So we've seen a lot from wheel size to suspension to braking systems. And I mean, overall geometries on bikes, it's just everything's changed and keeps evolving. Gary Fisher said this, he's the inventor of mountain biking. He said that the most underrated development in mountain biking are the trails. People just don't appreciate how far trail building has come.
We find that particularly to be true where we live now.
Oh, absolutely. We've got new trail activity at LAC over in Versailles. We've got Skullbuster in Scott County. Veterans Park here in Lexington is a really fun place to go ride Tuesday and Thursdays after work when the weather is dry and the trails are good. We're out there. Frankfort, good trails in Frankfort. They're working on some other West 6 is doing a project over in Frankfort. So there's more and more trails being developed here locally, which just a lot of good riding opportunities, good variety of trails. So it's a little bit of a good mix for all skill levels.
Yeah, and I think I remember seeing a lot of trail building going on in the Daniel Boone National Forest in eastern Kentucky as well.
Oh yeah, there is some up there. Sugar Camp Trails. That's a beautiful trail system. The guys down at Prestonsburg. Yeah. They've done an amazing job down there with that trail system. It's beautiful. Yeah, so there's all over the state, more and more trail systems coming around to us.
And if someone wants to get involved in mountain biking, how do they go about doing that?
First, you're going to need a mountain bike.
I can't imagine where they would go for that.
I can't either. No, and so you want a mountain bike and you want to come into your local bike store. When people come in here, again, it kind of goes back to those questions. Where are you going to ride? How are you going to ride? Who are you going to ride with? So we get you on the right bike, whether it's a hardtail or a full suspension, you want carbon or aluminum, 1x, 2x systems. So we get you in here. And then one of the things that I like about our shop, and a lot of our local shops do this too, is we really want to help people find places to ride and people to ride with. From us doing our Tuesday, Thursday night rides and inviting everybody we know to come to those, to hosting more formal events with the clubs. What you need to do is get a mountain bike and then come talk to us. We will help you ride and tell you where to go and how to start doing that. There are clinics that are offered. Scheller's, I know we help sponsor the women's clinic every year. That's local here. Yeah, that's kind of where you get started.
That's where you get started. Let's all get on a mountain bike. All right, it's time for another break, and we'll be back with you in a few moments. Welcome back to Bike Talk on Lexington Community Radio. I'm your host, Rhonda Bertram. Today we're joined by Andy Lanier and Denile Hill. They're with Scheller's Fitness and Cycling, and we've been talking about their shop. We've been talking about what's trending in cycling, about getting out and doing mountain biking, which is becoming huge here in Central Kentucky. Everyone's got to try it. Let's talk a little bit about what Scheller's offers in terms of clinics here and how you reach out to the community.
Well, as far as clinics go, we have what we call our second Saturday clinics. So the second Saturday of every month, we do a clinic 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll do a flat tire clinic. We do a general bike inspection clinic. We have a bike wash clinic, and there's one, drivetrain maintenance clinic, and those rotate. So, if you missed the flat tire clinic the first time, you can come back and get it at another date. You can see all those dates on our website, schellers.com, by the way. So to look at the schedule, but yeah, the second Saturday of every month, 10 o'clock here at the shop, come in, grab a cup of coffee or a donut. Occasionally we'll have some donuts.
Is that year round?
That is through the season. Goes through, I think, October last year. So yeah, it's a lot of times. It's come in, sit down, learn a few things, ask a few questions. Might let you get your hands dirty.
So March through October generally.
That's it, exactly.
So just call Scheller's. People are welcome to walk in and join you for the bike clinics. And it's part of how you do business. That's just part of it.
Absolutely, no appointment necessary.
In the clinics, what do you do?
Well, the clinics themselves will take people through the process of changing a tire. That can be an incredibly intimidating thing if you've never done it before. And let's face it, if you're going to ride, you're going to have a flat tire. And if you're 10 miles out, 20 miles out, 30 miles out, or 6 miles into the woods, you need to know how to do that. So that once we get people over that hurdle, it really kind of frees them up emotionally and spiritually, and they can go out and get on their bikes and not be scared to venture out so much. The maintenance clinics will show them the basic fundamentals of drivetrain maintenance, how to keep your bike running, operating smoothly, shifting smoothly. If you do just some basic things like that, it really helps your bike last a lot longer. Number one, you have to bring it to us a lot less. Number two, spend a lot less money on it over time and just enjoy it better. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Keep your bike running smoothly.
And it's really nice to have that autonomy and flexibility to learn and know that if you are out on the road and you have a problem, you can fix it, and that you can fix things in your own garage as well.
Knowledge is power. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, knowledge is power. So tell me a little bit more about how you reach out to the community. You've talked a little bit about that, but let's be a little more intentional about all the stuff you guys do.
Right. So we call it our Scheller Cycling Initiative. And it's two parts. It's clinics and it's rides. And along with anything else we choose to make up in between. But those are our two arms. So those are on our website. We reach out through Facebook. We email people, things like that. We have a calendar, an annual calendar we send to everybody and let them know. And that's really our outreach. Those are very becoming traditional methods. And then we really go out and talk about it. Everybody that comes in here, we invite people. Personally invite, please come and take our clinic. Please come and ride with us. You can talk about stuff all day long and put it all over your website. But that personal invitation, that personal extension really means I want to ride with you, or I want to help be part of your experience, be part of helping your story evolve and create a memory.
And that's part of one thing we were talking about earlier on, this really fabulous bike culture that exists here. Can you describe that a little bit? What does that feel like?
Oh, it's hard to describe because it's such a multifaceted phenomenon. Bike culture itself, there's so many different types of cycling, but all cyclists are kind of in the same category, whether you're a mountain biker or roadie, whatever tribe you're in. A lot of people refer to it as tribe. There's just this thing. You can meet people all over the world. If you're a cyclist, you have a connection with somebody, and it's hard to put on paper or put into words. Like I mentioned earlier, my dad was a North Carolina State rep, so I was used to waking up on any given morning and find my backyard full of tents and bikes and people from Sweden or Russia or whatever places I'd never seen, and we'd all just go out there and hang out, and that was it. I'd never see these people again, and I'd see them for a day, yet we're all just best friends and having a good time. And it's hard to really quantify or put into words, but there's definitely an attraction or a draw or a fellowship that you get from a bike it's unique in my experience.
I think, though, it's important to recognize, too, that culture is not a closed culture. It's a really open culture. And that's really important because it's not a secret club. Everybody's welcome. Whether you are the kind of person that likes to go out on your bike twice a year when the weather's perfect and ride, or you just want to ride no matter what the weather for long, hard miles, it doesn't matter. You're welcome to be part of this culture. And that's really what it takes. And that's what's so wonderful about it is, doesn't matter what your background is, where you come from. It doesn't matter that you live and breathe bikes or it's just a super fun summertime thing for you. Doesn't matter. You're still part of that culture. And that's really what makes the bike culture unique.
Just like riding a bike, right? That's there's a reason they say that, because everybody can identify with it, regardless of your passion level or your specific dedication to it.
And there's a place for everyone, I think, especially if you're just starting to ride and figure all of that out. It tends to be a very welcoming community.
I hope so. And, that might lead us into what we were talking about women. If you look around the bike industry itself and bike stores and a lot of riders, it tended to be male. I know when I started mountain biking, there was rarely another woman on the trail. These days, I have tons of women to ride with, or, a lot. It's still a lot of men, and the industry is that way too. And so it's really about offering people good positive experiences so that they don't shy away from it, so that they have a good time and they go, this is for me. And that's really, with the women's advocacy, that's really what we've tried to create. There are a lot of women out there that are just such avid cyclists, and they're so passionate about riding. And I really look to those women to help kind of bring them in, to help create an atmosphere for other women. So we've got a lot of women out there with a lot of confidence that are riding, and got to pair those up with women who just don't have much experience or maybe have had rough introductions. So it's about not just starting with, I never want to leave anybody out. And oh, by the way, for our women's initiative, I always say guys are welcome. You just got to ride behind us. It's no big deal. Because we love our fellas. It's really not about excluding anybody. It's about trying to create really positive experiences for women. We find that riding with men or having clinics, Andy is always really great. He's always welcome in our women's circle. We just have a different dynamic. It's not a good or bad thing. It's just a different dynamic. And so really, that's where that outreach really comes from, and wanting to create that for women.
And how would a woman, if she wants to tap into this initiative, how would she get in touch with that?
So fortunately here locally, we have a lot happening between ourselves and some other stores, but I'm a Trek women's advocate. I do a lot of work on behalf of Schellers and Trek bicycles. And the way that you do that is you can always go to websites. Our website always has that information. It's always under that Scheller Cycling Initiative, but also come into the store, ask some women around town. I know the BCC all through the winter had women's gatherings. So being part of a local bike club is a really great way. We have a Kimba Women's section of our local.
And Kimba is?
Kentucky Mountain Bike Association. We're the Bluegrass chapter here. And so we have a Kimba Women's chapter, which is part of the larger umbrella. And it's the same thing with BCC, Bluegrass Cycling Club. So that's, I would start just asking around.
Andy says yes.
They just bring me along to change the tires.
We don't need them for that. As we teach these ladies also, that's really where a lot of these clinics started, was our outreach to women. And then we realized that everybody needs it.
Well, what a wonderful note to close on, because unfortunately we're out of time for today's show. So before we sign off, let's remind people about Schellers and how they get in contact with you, what you have here, when can they come?
Well, the best way to get in touch with us is just to come down to the shop Monday through Friday, 10 to 7, Saturday, 10 to 6. We're at 1987 Harrodsburg Road. You can see everything we have at schellers.com. That's schellers.com. Got a great website, and we've just revamped it, so we're real proud of that. Works really well. Come see us, email us, call us, whatever's better for you.
Well, thanks so much for joining me on today's show. I really, really appreciate it. Andy Lanier and Denile Hill.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. It's been great talking to you. This has been a wonderful opportunity. And don't forget to tune in to Bike Talk at the same time next week for all things cycling, helping you get out, explore our towns and countryside in Lexington and beyond. Thanks for joining us. Be safe and enjoy the ride.